Good evening. I'm Erin Boucher, Chairperson of the Shrewsbury School Committee. Welcome to our meeting for Wednesday, April 29th. Tonight's meeting is being broadcast live on Selco channels 29 and 329 and streamed live on Shrewsbury Media Connection's website. Thank you to Liz Poplowski and Shrewsbury Media Connection for their assistance with our broadcast this evening. Tonight's meeting will be rebroadcast on SMC's website and their YouTube channel between now and our next scheduled meeting. The first item on the agenda is public participation. Tonight we have received a request to speak at public participation. Mrs. Pacey, like to come to the podium? Sure. Public participation, Mrs. Pacey, you'll have 3 minutes to address the committee, and all speakers are encouraged to present their remarks in a respectful manner. Public participation is not a time for debate or response to comments by the school committee. The absence of the response from the committee should be understood as adherence to procedural rules, not as agreement, endorsement, or acquiescence to the speaker's statements. So you'll have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello. My name is Catherine Pacey. I live at 22 Hickory Drive. I am here tonight to address the public records law. It is deeply disappointing to see Joe Sawyer and Chris Girardi, 2 SPS employees, fail to comply with the law repeatedly. It is even more concerning that legal counsel, who are legal advisors to our school district and this school committee, who are funded by the taxpayers of Shrewsbury, have allowed this to go on for so long and have participated in the withholding of public documents. These actions reflect not only a disregard for the law, but also a lack of transparency and a willingness to ignore residents who followed the proper request process. We attempted to resolve concerns privately as first when deadlines were ignored. As of today, we still have outstanding public record requests. Joe Sawyer, Chris Girardi, legal counsel, and every school member sitting here tonight are either directly violating the law or condoning this behavior. The superintendent reports to the school committee. You can take action. There is no excuse for these delays other than retaliation against my family or the fear of what is within those public records. This is not the first time Mass state laws have not been adhered to by school employees. Leadership sets the tone. If it is acceptable for the superintendent, Joe Sawyer, to ignore the law, it becomes clear why his staff feels that it is acceptable behavior to do the same. After 2 years, I have some clarity as to why Principal Todd Basilio, Assistant Principal Nigel Wynn, Athletic Director Jason Costa, and former coach Becky Landers felt that it was acceptable to ignore the Mass state bullying law and the district's own policy governed by this committee. They knew they would not have to answer to anyone, even the superintendent. It would be hypocritical of him to hold an employee accountable for breaking the law when he does the same. In fact, Principal Todd Basilio, who broke the law twice, lied to me and also exhibited unprofessional behavior by laughing at another mother in a text exchange with Jay Costa, was rewarded with the opportunity to become a finalist to be the next superintendent of this district. 2 years ago, we asked Todd and Joe for the following things. 1, a formal apology to our daughter for the pain and suffering she experienced from multiple staff failures when bullying and harassment allegations were not taken seriously. 2, explain why the bullying allegations were not taken seriously by high school leadership. 3, explain why not one employee was held accountable for breaking the law. These are not hard questions. Both Joe and Todd have the answers. They have chosen not to communicate those answers to us. Is this leadership? Is that transparency? Is that accountability? On November 14th, 2024, Joe Sawyer wrote in this email to me, and I quote, "Once we have PRS responses on both of these matters and the investigation is complete, I think we can figure out a way to come to a general overall resolution." That meeting never happened because Desi concluded on both PRS matters that his staff failed to take bullying allegations seriously and failed to follow the law.
That's 3 minutes.
Legally, I'm just going to finish. Legally, apologizing to our daughter would be an acknowledgement of their negligence. This is when it became clear that the student is not the priority. Protecting the district is the priority. When 4 staff members at a single school violate a law and disregard a policy, not once, but twice, which is designed specifically to protect students, it raises serious concerns and signals a potential risk to the safety of every student at the school.
Mrs. Pacey, you're
This
beyond
was
the
never
time.
shared with the public.
Can you please wrap up?
Another failure of leadership. In closing, I would ask the school committee members responsible for governance, what steps have you taken The superintendent and multiple employees have violated 2 Mass General laws at least 9 times, yet none of you has worked with us towards a resolution. You won't even pick up the phone and call us. When you have responded to our emails, you hide behind the legal counsel. They write those responses for you.
Mrs. Casey,
Those are not
it's
your
been
own
3
words or
minutes.
thoughts.
Thank
Stop
you.
being selective and start being consistent when it comes to serving all the students, all the parents, and all the members of this community. Do better. Thank you.
The school committee is aware of the complaint that has been filed by your family, and the school committee is planning to, the school committee is planning to refer to the complaint in the superintendent's evaluation this evening.
Then meet with us.
The next item on our agenda is member and chairperson's report. Anyone have anything to report this evening?
No.
That's right, okay. I do have a statement as chair that I'd like to read this evening. As chair and individually, I'd like to take a few minutes to address recent comments made regarding the district's handling of 2 bullying complaints. I'm disappointed in the rhetoric and the portrayal of the district's handling of this matter. The 2 complaints were made by the same individual and were filed with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's Problem Resolution System in 2024. DESE provided actions for the district to implement to improve the handling of these matters, which is important for all parties involved in these situations. Both of these complaints were resolved to the satisfaction of DESE. The state laws which protect students' confidentiality prohibit me from discussing the details of these complaints. I can, however, provide the following context. With regard to the first complaint, an exhaustive investigation was completed into the allegations presented, and it was determined that no bullying occurred. With regard to the second complaint, the district offered to have an outside attorney conduct an investigation into the bullying allegations, and the family declined this offer. The district resolved all elements of the complaint, and DESE stated that, quote, the district went above and beyond what was ordered by the department when it opted to proceed with the investigation being conducted by an attorney. DESE then closed these cases, and the district continued to provide support. Additionally, in response to these complaints, the district updated policies related to bullying prevention and intervention and student safety, and provided updated training to administrators. These updates ensure policies and practices that are reflective of student needs, as well as the district's commitment to providing safe, positive, and productive educational environments. I would also like to take this opportunity to remind students, staff, and families of the importance of reporting any concerning behavior so that the district can continue to provide safe, welcoming learning environments for all of our students. Resources are available on the district's website regarding bullying prevention and intervention. The district respects the rights of anyone who expresses concerns or files complaints and will provide whatever supports are necessary and appropriate to our students and families. Thank you. Dr. Sawyer, do you have anything for Superintendent's report this evening?
Yes, please. I first want to commend our music department at Shrewsbury High School. They just received the news for the 3rd consecutive year. They have been nominated or they've been awarded the National Association of Music Merchants Award for Best Community for Music Education. Mr. Lapamardo, the director of the program, indicates that this is due to outstanding support and commitment to music education. And again, it's the 3rd year in a row that Shrewsbury has received this distinction. It is given to communities nationwide. It serves to honor existing excellence and encourage continued growth in music education programs. In 1,000 districts and schools across the country, out of many more than that, have been honored, including Shrewsbury for the 3rd year in a row. So congratulations to our music department on that distinction. Secondly, I want to mention that earlier today, I was able to attend a meeting of the Worcester County Superintendent's Association where they honored executive assistants, and I was pleased to be able to bring Beth McCollum, the longtime 10-year executive assistant, to me, who does extraordinary work in our central office, and it was a pleasure to be able to recognize her along with the other superintendent's executive assistants today, and I thank Ms. McCollum for her continued outstanding work. And finally, recently we had Bus Driver Appreciation Day. That is something that, again, I wanted to note. Our bus drivers who work with us through AA Transportation, which is the vendor who's been a longtime vendor for the school district, have an incredibly important job, of course, in terms of transporting our children back and forth to school each day. It can be a challenging job to make sure that it's done well, and really compared to a lot of other districts, what we've seen in the news the last several years, we really have not had the same challenges around staff shortages or other issues related to our bus transportation. We've had an excellent relationship with AA Transportation and the drivers that they employ who work with us as our partners. So I want to just recognize them and thank them for their service. And that is Superintendent's report this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Sawyer. The next item on our agenda this evening is a school committee member recognition. Ms. Sandy Fritz has served on the school committee for 6 three-year terms, a total of 18 years. This is Ms. Fritz's last regular meeting prior to stepping down from the committee. This will be an opportunity to recognize Ms. Fritz's history of service to Shrewsbury Public Schools as a member of the committee. So I'd like to call Mr. Jim Kane.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Prior to undertaking my deputy efforts this evening, I'd like to say that as a former colleague, I was on the Board of Selectmen for, 3 or 4 terms, and you were also on the school committee. You were a great partner throughout. I honestly believe that as I look back on our kids' years in the Shrewsbury Public School System, with Joe, Mr. Bent, and a variety of building principals along the way and fantastic teachers, part of the reason I'm able to wear a BU insignia this evening is because of the great education our son received in this public school system. And I think you were an important part of that, always very reasonable, but always really there for the kids and everything they needed. So thank you, Sandy, as a father and as a former colleague.
Thank you.
Moving to my paid gig this evening. On behalf of Hannah, who's in a budget session right now, I'd just like to present to you a proclamation from the House of Representatives to Sandy Fritz. Your many years of leadership and dedicated service on the Shrewsbury School Committee. Thank you for your unwavering support of Shrewsbury Public School students, educators, and staff. Our community is deeply grateful for your many significant contributions to our schools. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. Given this 29th day of April 2026, the State House Boston, Ronald Mariano, Speaker, and Hannah E. Kane, State Representative. So thank you very much for all your years. Oh, sure.
I also have strict orders.
It's a lot of ordering.
Oh, you need to hold the citation, sorry. That would be great, thank you. I'm gonna take a couple. Thank you.
Congratulations.
The next speaker this evening will be Mark Murray.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the school committee, and Dr. Sawyer. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Mark Murray, and I'm here to recognize and congratulate Sandra Fritz on the occasion of her retirement from the Shrewsbury School Committee after 18 years of truly distinguished service. I had the privilege of serving along Sandy during the final 3 years of my own 15-year tenure on this committee, and I've known her for nearly 3 decades. Over that time, I've seen firsthand the qualities that have defined her leadership and her lasting impact on our schools and our community. Sandy has consistently demonstrated a deep commitment to doing what is right, even when it was not easy. She has approached every decision with thoughtfulness, integrity, and a clear focus on what is best for students. She has always given her very best, preparing diligently, listening carefully, and engaging respectfully with colleagues and stakeholders alike. Perhaps most importantly, Sandy has led with genuine care. She has shown time and again that she understands the importance of every voice in our community: students, families, educators, and taxpayers, and that she values each of them. Clearly, her leadership has helped shape the strength and direction of the Shrewsbury Public Schools, and her legacy will be felt for many years to come. Sandy, thank you for your unwavering dedication, your principled leadership, and your many years of service to the children and families of Shrewsbury. It has been an honor to serve with you and to call you a friend. On behalf of a grateful community, congratulations and best wishes in your retirement from this board and in whatever adventures lie ahead in your next chapter. Godspeed.
Thank you, Mark.
The next speaker this evening is Judy Vetter.
Good evening. Thank you very much for allowing me to participate in the celebration of Sandy. I've known Sandy for over 30 years, and I'm fortunate to be able to call her a close friend, and over the years, she was my go-to for parenting advice. Sandy's calm, thoughtful, and decisive nature not only made her a great parent to her two children, but it also made her an excellent school committee member for 18 years. Think of that. 18 years. To put that in perspective, that's approximately 936 school committee meetings, 54 town meeting nights, 6 campaigns, and the amount of time it takes a child to grow into a legal adult. Over her tenure, we have benefited from Sandy's budgetary stewardship and professional negotiation skills for contracts and policymaking. Sandy has helped shape the excellent school system that has benefited our students and taxpayers. As she passes this responsibility to current and future school committee members, I simply want to say thank you very much, Sandy.
Thank you, Judy.
The next speaker this evening is Erin Canzano.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak. It's so lovely to see all of you, and especially Sandy. As I was thinking about remarks, I just narrowed it down to 3 from a whole lot. And it's what I learned from working with you on the committee. We worked together for 11 years. So the first thing that I learned is how important a sense of humor is. I sat in a lot of meetings, sometimes that would get tense, or executive sessions, budget meetings, where a sense of humor is essential to diffusing the situation. Super helpful to bring people together, and also the number of times that we laughed after on the ride home.
Right, exactly.
On the ride home. The other thing that's been really important that I learned from you is how to be okay not to be liked. You know, this role is super challenging. It has its moments of disagreement and conflict, and I learned from you being respectful, being prepared, keeping an open mind. All of that is essential. And then if the disagreement doesn't work out or the conflict isn't resolved, that it's okay. And that it's okay, that not everyone thinks the best of you. But the most important thing for me as a person, with my own personal growth, coming on the committee as an introvert, you were essential in helping me find my voice. And I think I've seen that over the years with the different members. You're a wonderful mentor in helping people find their voice and use it. Not only by like asking and encouraging, but just by the way you act. Kira is very lucky to have you as a model of a strong female leader who isn't afraid to ask the hard questions or say the hard things. I'm so grateful that I've learned that from you, and I'm a better person. I was a better school committee member because of you. And you leave the district better than you found it. So thank you.
Thank you, Erin.
The next speaker this evening is John Samia.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I had the honor of serving with Sandy for 8 years on the Shrewsbury School Committee, and more recently, we worked together during the 6 years that I had served on the Shrewsbury Select Board. We first started working together in 2007 during an override campaign. I was a new school committee member, and Sandy was leading member of a grassroots community group, Citizens for a Better Shrewsbury. I immediately noted her collaborative nature, tremendous work ethic, intelligence, and common sense. 2 prior overrides had failed. Historically, the previous failed attempts focused on what the kids deserved. This emotional-based approach, while noble, and we all want what's good for our kids, but without the corresponding cost and benefit information, that did not resonate, particularly when residents had experienced pre-ed reform education, which was entirely different. Sandy's approach was and always has been incisive and straightforward, using a clear set of facts to support why the additional funds were needed. Throughout her 18 years on the school committee, Sandy has always led with a well-informed, facts-based approach, which has been vital to enable Shrewsbury Public Schools to provide a high-quality education that residents expect. While that override failed by a small margin, I strongly believe that the successful 2014 and 21 override campaigns would have never happened without Sandy's and Citizens for Better Shrewsbury's hard work in 2007. Sandy and I started working together as school committee members in May of 2008 when Sandy was elected a year after I had got on. We grew together as school committee members, also with Erin. I remember talking quite regularly, focusing on what we can do better as a school committee and school district. The current Shrewsbury Public Schools strategic plan, strategic priorities, and long-term financial projection work are linchpins of a successful school district. Sandy played one of the most important roles in driving all of these initiatives, starting with the district's first set of strategic priorities, which were adopted in 2011. During our tenure together as public servants, I have had the great fortune of getting to know Sandy. Sandy is smart, practical, and extremely hardworking. She is a person of the utmost integrity, who always will choose to do what is right as opposed to what would be politically expedient. You demonstrate an unwavering passion to provide equitable learning opportunities for all students, and you are always mindful of the Shrewsbury taxpayer. Your unwavering leadership over your 18 years of service on the school committee, particularly during many years of unprecedented financial and regulatory times, and a pandemic too, will ensure the long-term vibrancy of our town and our school district, and will benefit our students for generations to come. Thank you for your thoughtfulness, your professionalism, your friendship, and making Shrewsbury an even better place to live. We have been truly fortunate for your 18 years of exemplary public service. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
The next speaker is Carlos Garcia.
Thank you, and good evening. It's an honor to be here with all of you. Sandy, I'm going to say something that you're probably not going to like. When you were first elected, I was a 6th grade student at the old Sherwood.
You're right.
And I bring this up not to make you feel old, but instead to express my deep gratitude to you for the role that you directly played in the experience that I had in the Shrewsbury Public School system. You have uplifted countless lives throughout your many years of service in this community, and I think that it's been a truly wonderful experience to have the opportunity to work alongside you for the last several years to keep our schools strong. Your steady and strong leadership on the school committee will certainly be missed, and I just, again, want to thank you for your many years of service to our community. I know it's not the last time that we'll see you, but it's truly been a pleasure to work alongside you. So thank you for your friendship as well.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Beth Cassavan.
Thank you. Sandy, I'm so happy to be here tonight to be able to mark this occasion of your final meeting and the tremendous contribution that you have made to the Shrewsbury schools and to the students and the families, including my own. I don't know a school committee without you on it. In the 18 years that you've been on the school committee, coincided with when my family moved to Shrewsbury. And I am so grateful for every Wednesday night that you've spent in this room advocating for the people in this community whose voices are the least likely to be heard. You've seen everything in your time on this board, and that includes a pandemic. And during that time, the meetings were more frequent and the stakes were even higher, but you persevered through it all, and you made thoughtful decisions in the best interests of our kids and our families. And beyond that, you've been involved in capital investments for the district, including 2 new schools that have opened during your time on this committee. We get so caught up in the work that we're doing that I'm not sure we spend a lot of time thinking about what's the last meeting going to be like, or when's the last meeting going to be. And I'm sure that it's bittersweet for you knowing that this is your last meeting and that when you walk out of this room that you will not be a school committee member after that. But I also know that it's not the last that we're going to see or hear of you, because I know you'll always be a steadfast supporter of the Shrewsbury Public Schools. And thank you so much for the contributions that you've made to this district. And from my family and myself, thank you for the contributions that you made that directly benefited all of us. Congrats.
Thank you, Beth.
The next speaker is Jason Palich.
Good evening. I had the good fortune to serve for 3 terms on this body, and Mrs. Fritz was actually the only person who served alongside me for all 3 of those non-consecutive terms. Though, in point of fact, I have known her for just about 20 years now, going back to that 2007 operational override effort where we were both in our preschool committee days fighting the good fight. I believe it is a very unique combination of skills that has made Mrs. Fritz a very effective leader for this district. She listens. She listens to everyone. She reads every comment that is sent her way. She is always calm and thoughtful and respectful, even in very difficult situations. She always considers feedback. She considers other perspectives, but she also stands her ground. And she stands up for what she needs to stand up for, and she is not easily moved. And sometimes that was frustrating for me when she and I would be on the wrong side of things.
My kids will agree.
But she was always doing what was in the best interest of Shrewsbury Public Schools and the broader Shrewsbury community. The past 18 years have seen some challenging moments for the district. There were a number of points where the community had to make very difficult choices to make sure this district had the resources that it needed to succeed. All of those moments could have easily gone another way were it not for Mrs. Fritz's leadership. So we could all talk endlessly. Everybody's going to talk tonight about how lucky we are to have you as a personal friend, but I just want to point out in particular that there are many thousands of kids in the past, in the present, and in the future who will benefit for years to come from Mrs. Fritz's leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
The next speaker is Lindsay Heffernan.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here. I think I'm coming close to wrapping up the community comments and a really august group of people who have had the pleasure to work with you, Sandy. When I stopped and thought about all of the leadership qualities that you have, they are many. Your dedication has been mentioned over and over again, and your commitment, your incredible ability to mentor others, including myself, in this first public role. Your reasonableness, your tenacity, for sure, and your fierce advocate for kids. I certainly agree in your quick wit, and you can be damn funny. I also had phone calls with her on the way home to just debrief what the heck just happened. And I remember one particular school committee meeting during COVID where we were going to vote on the budget, but we were all doing it from home. And as I recall, the power went out in my house, and we were about to take a critical vote. And Sandy texted me saying, "We're waiting for you. Don't worry." And I was like, I'm definitely worried. They're all waiting. I certainly think of you as a friend, and while I only served for a third of the length of the time that you have in this district, I know it was 1 year ago, almost tonight, the Wednesday before last year's town meeting vote, that after a very long meeting where all the rest of us will have left and you will all keep going and doing your work, walking into that parking lot and thinking, wow, okay, I'm done with this, and having both that freeing feeling and that bittersweet feeling, because it's something I know you are so incredibly dedicated to, but I hope that you can feel both the love tonight and know the incredible impact that you have literally had for a generation of children. So thank you for your service, Sandy.
We'll now hear from the current school committee members. Mr. Velagapudi.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to take a moment to recognize Sandy for her years of dedicated service to the Shrewsbury School Committee and the greater community abroad, overall. Sandy has been more than just a member of this committee, but she has been a steady, assuring presence. Through challenging moments, and as my other members mentioned, important decisions, she has brought calm, clarity, and consistent focus on what truly matters, our students. I think many of us can recall moments, whether in meetings or conversations, where Sandy's perspective helped bring clarity or where her support helped move things forward. And of course, there's the notebook, where Sandy captures everything. Time and again, she would go back to those notes, sometimes from years earlier, and reminds us not just what was said, but why it mattered. At times, it felt like Sandy's notes were the unofficial archives of this committee, and more often than not, the more reliable one. That kind of memory, discipline, and care brought continuity and perspective that this committee truly relied on. What many of us will remember most is how she showed up for others. She listened with intention, supported those around her, and helped create a space where people felt heard, respected, and encouraged. She had a way of bringing people together and guiding conversations forward, even when path wasn't easy. Her impact goes beyond policies or decisions. It lives in the people she has supported, the trust she has built, and the example she has set. Sandy, thank you for everything you have given to this community. Your impact here will last far beyond your time on this committee and will continue to be felt in the years ahead. We wish you all the very best. You have left this place better than you found it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've cut this down substantially because I've yet to get through this without crying. So, and we might have a theme going on between our comments. As you step down from the school committee after an illustrious 18 years, I just want to say thank you. Not just for your tireless advocacy for all students and families, but for doing it with heart, humor, and the kind of determination that assures people they're in good hands. You have been the fiercest of champions for students, staff, and families across our district. You have been the wisest voice in the room, and you are certainly not afraid to voice your concerns and your perspective. When Sandy speaks, you listen. You come prepared to everything, usually with one of your massive notebooks. I don't know how you're able to write as fast as you do and with the detail that you do, but the copious notes you take is unbelievably impressive. We could be talking about something random and a light bulb will go off in your head. I can see it. The next day you show up with your notebook from years past and flip exactly to the pertinent page that will give context to what we had previously discussed. But you are also this district's biggest cheerleader. Your passion has made a lasting impact that is far greater than any of us realize. You have served as a mentor and a role model to me. From day one, you have looked out for me and helped me fully understand what it means to be an effective school committee member and an even better person. If I can achieve even a tiny smidge of what you've achieved, I will consider myself lucky. Thank you for everything, for your time, your tenacity, and your friendship. We are all better because of you. I am better because of you.
Thank you, and you made me cry.
Well, I didn't cut anything out of my speech. If I abstain, will you stay next year?
No, I have trips planned.
Well, Sandy, you were one of the first school committee members that I met with before deciding to run in 2015. I might have said that about maybe 3 or 4 others in the room, but I'm pretty sure you were the first.
We met at Panera.
At Panera, that's
Yes, we
correct.
did.
That's right. So I've been on the board for 11 years. Like Ms. Casavan, I've not known a school committee without Sandy on it. You've been an outstanding mentor, a steady voice, and a trusted friend throughout my journey here. 18 years of service is an extraordinary commitment. This role is not just the meetings twice a month, as Judy said. It's hours before, during, and after the meetings, the countless subcommittees, from new school buildings to finance to negotiations, all in service of doing what's right for students, staff, and the community. It's thousands of hours. If you look back at the 18 years, it's 900 plus meetings as referenced, but you forget about those meetings, those several meetings that we had on subcommittees, especially around negotiations that I had the privilege of serving with you on. For you, it's truly been a labor of love most of the time. And just working closely with you on negotiating subcommittees, I learned a great deal that not only helped me as a school committee member, but in my professional life as well. We had 3 successful cycles together with all 4 unions. They were long, challenging conversations, but always constructive and grounded in fairness and respect, and that's what you brought to each meeting with your approach. On a lighter note, I'll miss our pre-meeting conversations, although it was always tough to try to break town news to you because by the time I called you, like, oh yeah, I already heard that. On a regular basis, I would often receive a voice message from you saying, hey, give me a call. You're not going to believe this one. And indeed, it was something mind-boggling or something that just defied logic, but I loved it. I lived in this town for over 50 years, and Sandy helped me find out that there was a political circle here. I didn't know that, right? So it's just been, you make it fun. You've made this journey fun, and as others have said, you have to have a sense of humor. If you really need to be wired for this. Also, my wife, Melissa, just assumes that I'm on a standing town intel briefing hotline with Sandy. She'll know if I'm on the phone with her, if I'm just sounding kind of animated, like, what are you telling me? And I'll be done with the call, and she'll say to me, oh, so you're on with Sandy, right? I said, yep. So, and let's talk about that notebook. We can't ignore the thousands of pages of handwritten notes that you've compiled over those 18 years. I'm convinced that the Shrewsbury Historical Society needs to take them, digitize them, and preserve them. And maybe, we could use them for future meetings. Because if you ask Sandy what happened at a specific meeting back in 2013, she could tell you. So I also want to take an opportunity to thank your family who's here tonight, many of whom I've seen in pictures, met in person once. I don't think I've met Christian in person until today or seen you in person. So thank you for being here. Your brother Steve and your extended family, your husband Bob. I've really appreciate getting to know them over the years. And I know your granddaughter Kira is here as well. SHS class of maybe 2042. I'm doing the math.
She had her Maple and Maine
That's right.
T-shirt on
That's
today.
right.
Yep.
So, but public service at this level is a family commitment as well, and your support has made these 18 years possible. So thank you for sharing Sandy with this board. In closing, I think there's a quote that fits this role well. Public service is not measured in the hours served, but in the lives impacted. Sandy, your impact of this district is lasting, and you've left Shrewsbury Public Schools in a better place. Thank you for your leadership, your integrity, and your dedication. It's been an honor to serve with you, and I'm grateful to call you a colleague and a friend.
Thank you, John.
I first met Sandy when we served together on the building committee for the new Beale School. And over the years we served together, I got to know Sandy and see firsthand what a dedicated leader she is. As the Beal project was reaching its completion, Sandy encouraged me to continue serving our schools as a school committee member, and she was instrumental in supporting me as both a candidate and then a new member of the school committee. She has been a wonderful mentor and a friend. Having served for 18 years, her institutional knowledge can't be overstated, and as my other colleagues have mentioned, when we started the search for the next superintendent, Sandy was able to pull out her notes from the search for Dr. Sawyer 17 years ago and show me some of the documents that they used back then. So it's so impressive. Sandy's commitment, though, has never been about recognition. It's about doing the work. It's about asking the right questions. It's about keeping students at the center of every decision. She's the first to volunteer for any assignment. And when given a task, you always know it will be done well. When navigating a challenging budget cycle, celebrating progress, or helping guide long-term planning, Sandy has been a consistent and trusted voice at the table. She has been a strong advocate for our schools while also maintaining her focus on fiscal responsibility and ensuring that every decision reflected careful stewardship of our community's resources. She's always willing to listen. She approaches every issue with care. She respects differing perspectives, and she helps foster collaboration, even in difficult moments. That kind of leadership leaves a lasting impression, not just on policy, but on the culture of this committee itself. We are grateful for the time, care, and energy that you've given over these 18 years, and we're thankful to your wonderful family, Bob, Christian, Nicole, Shannon, Kira, your mom and dad, your brother and sister-in-law, for all the sacrifices they have made allowing you to do this very important work. You're a true public servant, and Shrewsbury has been so extremely fortunate and blessed to have your expertise and guidance over the last 18 years, and your legacy will continue through the strength of our schools. We wish you all the best, and you will be greatly, greatly missed.
You're making me cry again, Erin. Thank you.
Thank you, and deeply appreciate all the comments from former school committee members and officials, and certainly the other members here at the desk this evening. Sandy and I go back further than her time on the school committee because we met in 1997 when her children, Christian and Nicole, were students at Floral Street School, and got to know Sandy very quickly because she was involved, heavily involved with the school, and served on the school council with Ellen Fairbanks, the then principal, myself as assistant principal, a variety of teachers and parents. And at that time, Sandy, to me, as a very young, very new leader in Shrewsbury, really signified the kind of connection and service and willingness to work to make our schools as good as they could be, and that stood out from the very beginning. I would also say that we've been so fortunate to have such a wonderful parent community during my almost 30 years now in Shrewsbury. Sandy has had an extremely high-profile position, and she is enormously proud of her children, and now her grandchild, who will soon be our student. But never once over the course of the time I've worked with Sandy was there even a whiff of expecting any sort of preferential treatment or anything to be done for her kids. It was always about what was good for all kids in Shrewsbury. And I think that just speaks to your integrity and your qualities as a leader. Your meticulousness that's been spoken about, your notes, of course, but certainly in the work with you as superintendent, and multiple times being chair. And I think it's important to note for all school committee members, past and present, as well as other elected officials, it's very much like an iceberg. You see what they do for a few hours each week, or maybe every other week on camera, or at different events. The amount of time they spend preparing for those meetings, reviewing documents, figuring out and working with and talking to constituents, it's an enormous amount of time. And when you're the chair, that absolutely grows exponentially. And I've always appreciated the work that I did with, because as superintendent, you work very frequently with the chair, your support, your guidance, your trust, your empowerment, in the context of always the feeling that the requirement to make the case of why this was the right thing, why a recommendation was the right recommendation for the children of Shrewsbury. And it forced me to raise my game every time. And then, of course, during the pandemic, when you re-opt for another term as chair back to back, was an extraordinary signal of leadership to the community, and having your steady hand during that time will be something that I'll be forever grateful for. I think that it's been mentioned in different ways tonight, but it's really because of your efforts, because of your leadership. The working conditions for our staff are better than when you started. The learning environments for our students, particularly our two new award-winning schools, Sherwood and Beale, but overall, the ability, what we can provide to kids, but most importantly, the quality of what we provide as an education for students, both academically and for their growth socially and emotionally. You have literally, your leadership has improved the lives of thousands upon thousands of children, and that's incredibly important. And that's what public education is about, and you're the epitome of a community public education leader, and I'm enormously grateful, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sawyer.
So, per school committee policy 871, the school committee may periodically dedicate a room or a space to an outstanding staff member for a special occasion. On the occasion of Ms. Fritz's last meeting, prior to stepping down from the committee after 18 years of service, the committee is being asked this evening to approve the dedication of a designated outdoor space at Major Howard W. Beale School as the Sandra Fritz Garden. May I please have a motion that the committee vote per school committee policy 871 to dedicate a designated outdoor space at Major Howard W. Beale School as the Sandra Fritz Garden?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries unanimously.
Okay. I said I wasn't going to cry. Do I have to open it?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't make me stop crying. They rap like I do. That's after, nobody can get into presents at our house. So, I can't read without my glasses. You guys. That is so nice, you guys.
The Sandra Fritz Garden. This garden will be dedicated to honor the public service of Sandra Fritz, a town leader who served as member of the Shrewsbury School Committee for 18 years during 6 consecutive terms from 2008 through 2026. Ms. Fritz provided exceptional leadership for the Shrewsbury Public Schools, serving as committee chair 6 times, including 2 successive terms through the COVID-19 pandemic. She also played a key role in multiple initiatives, including serving on 2 superintendent search committees, multiple negotiation committees, the elementary redistricting committee, the preschool grade 4 capital planning committee, and the Major Howard W. Beale School building committee that oversaw the construction of this school. Ms. Fritz was known for her emphasis on fiscal stewardship and advocacy for the financial and space needs of the schools. She was influential in securing community support for multiple school building projects and 2 operational overrides that provided critical funding for public education. Her strategic leadership helped the school district strengthen its educational programming with a focus on how to best meet the needs of all of our community's children. And this will be
And I know we're going long, and as much as people don't, I hate being the center of attention. It's just one of those things that I don't like, but it's my turn to talk now. Anyway, thank you so much, the committee. That is unbelievable. And Kara will be a student at Beale, so Bob, we have something we'll have to go and you'll be doing more gardening work. And when I look back at this, if when I was much, much younger, if someone had said to me, run for public office, I would have said, absolutely not. I would never want to do that. I'm not a politician, and I would never feel comfortable talking or speaking in public. Fast forward to the early 2000s, and I became involved with the schools at Floral Street School, as on the Floral Street School Council. And over time, I learned about the challenges that the town was experiencing in order to fund educational services, and I was concerned about what would happen next in our town. So after encouragement from family and friends in 2008, I threw my hat into that political ring, something I never thought I would do. And I was elected to my first term as a school committee member. During the first meeting after that election, I distinctly remember sitting at this desk and saying, what have I gotten myself into? It was one of those, I wanted it, but now it's real. These 18 years have really gone by incredibly fast. Serving on the school committee has been one of the most meaningful chapters of my life, and stepping away from it seems odd. It's sad, but it's also with a sense of pride. I want to thank my family, who encouraged me to run the first time and the sixth time. A little less encouragement around the sixth time, but we got through it. And due to the considerable time commitment required by the role, our family has had to step up and assist with all the activities and responsibilities that occur just in your normal life as a family. It meant juggling work schedules, running from a sports game or dance practice to a meeting, or once again, asking for help to watch the kids. One of my memories that I remember distinctly was when my son told my parents that I was feeding him gas station food. Because I had to run to a meeting. I'll admit, we were at a gas station, Christian. We were at Flynn's on Route 20. And I wasn't giving you Twinkies or chips. There was a Dunkin's there. I'm like, it's okay. It's a little more healthy, and you'll be fine. He survived. He's here today. We got through it as a family. But these are the things we do as school committee members. It doesn't always work out. Our kids eat gas station food. My family has stood by me every step of this journey. They've listened to all my stories. They've ignored a lot of them. And I'm just really eternally grateful for all of your love and support. School committee work is not easy, and the success of our district is due to the collective work of everyone involved in the schools. I am so grateful for the opportunity to have collaborated with amazing teachers, paraprofessionals, district administrators, central office staff, support staff, union leadership, and parents. These individuals are the heart of our schools. Every day they show up with dedication, creativity, and passion to provide students with what they need to be successful. It has been a privilege to support your work over the years. I want to thank the members, past and present, on the Select Board and the Finance Committee for their support of my work during my tenure. We've always had really effective communication, collaboration, because what we do is so vital to supporting the needs of our community. A special thank you goes out to Mark Serra and Liz Poplowski at Shrewsbury Media Connection for the countless hours they've spent broadcasting our meetings. They step up every time we ask them for a meeting. It could be a typical meeting that can go long, or another meeting they add to their week that could also be really long. And without them, the community would not have the real-time information from our board. I have had the good fortune of working with 3 Shrewsbury Public School superintendents. I've worked with Dr. Sawyer since he started in the district 29 years ago, now almost 30, including all of his 17 years leading the district. I can absolutely assure Dr. Sawyer and everybody in this room that I know I have added to your gray hairs over the time. I had the pleasant working with Dr. Bent as a member of the All-School Council and a school committee member. And I was privileged to have the opportunity to engage with Dr. John Collins, who is always a staunch supporter of our Shrewsbury Public Schools throughout his entire life. He was always willing to provide me with advice and assist with any questions. The relationship between the school committee members and the superintendent is vital, and during my tenure, it has been a strong working relationship of shared values and respect. I have learned a tremendous amount from each of these individuals, and I am very grateful for the work we did together. I want to thank the Shrewsbury community for your trust in me. You elected me to this role 6 times. I hope I have lived up to your expectations, and you feel my work in some small way supported you, your children, and the town. I am deeply thankful for the support and friendship of all of my current and past school committee members. Words cannot express my gratitude for all each of you have done for me and for our district. We spend a lot of time together, a lot. Late nights, long meetings, we have difficult conversations, and you have all given me your patience, support, and a willingness to listen and provide advice, as well as we've had a lot of laughs. We have accomplished much as a committee, including the building of 2 new schools, supported the establishment of the RISE program, collaborated with the select board, town manager, and superintendent for the first ever override agreement to alleviate the town's financial structural deficit to guarantee the taxpayers' fiscal stability. We took the risk and hired a third-party consultant to assess the financial health of the district. And we recently completed a successful superintendent search. I am so proud of what we have accomplished together. It is not about one single decision or initiative, but being part of a process rooted in collaboration, respect, and a shared belief in the importance of public education. It has been an absolute honor to serve alongside each of you, and I'm so deeply grateful for the commitment we share. I will miss working with all of you, but will remain your biggest supporter, and have a deep respect for the challenging work you will continue to do. So I have one last suggestion I want to make. Surprising, I know, coming from me. After the recent successful Artemis II mission, astronaut and commander Reed Weissman was at a press conference, and he was asked about what he did when a smoke detector went off during reentry preparations. I cannot imagine a more intense moment or challenge for a team. And we all know how we feel if the smoke detector goes off in the middle of the night. So you think about you're in a little capsule plummeting to Earth. He replied to his crew, I quote, "No fast hands. Teams that perform the best are ones grounded in shared values, take time to pause and reflect, and trust enough to partner together. Shrewsbury Public Schools is strong due to leaders like all of you who step up to guide our district forward. Continue to do the right things, be proactive, do not feel rushed in today's high-paced environment to reach conclusions without evaluating the best course of action for our schools. Continue to collaborate, communicate early and often, have those hard discussions, and sometimes agree to disagree. Again, no fast hands. Remain true to the district's core values and continue to lead by example. I am deeply humbled to have served the community for 18 years and want to thank everyone here tonight for your kind words. I leave knowing our district is in exceptionally capable hands. I look forward to seeing the next exciting chapter for our school district. And as you know, I'm a grandparent in this district, so don't be surprised, and none of you will be surprised by this. If you get a message, do you have a minute? Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
The next item on our agenda this evening is an acceptance of gift. Per school committee policy 911, gifts of $5,000 or more must be formally accepted by the school committee. Previous gifts from Win Waste Innovations have enabled Shrewsbury Public School students to participate in career exploration opportunities, including job shadowing and internships. This proposed donation in the amount of $35,000 to Shrewsbury Public Schools will fund experiential learning that includes covering the estimated startup costs of about $27,000 for a new medical interpreting certification program for bilingual high school seniors, Portuguese and Spanish, that combines coursework and internships to prepare students with the professional skills needed for entry-level roles in healthcare interpretation. So Dr. Sawyer is here this evening?
Yes, Dr. Lazat.
Dr. Sawyer is here.
I am here.
We're all
Sorry.
here.
It's okay.
No worries. Thank you. This evening I am joined by Don Musial, Director Ash Monofils at Win Waste Innovations, and Ken Almeida, Director of World Languages, for this brief presentation. Core to Win Waste's role as a community partner with the town of Shrewsbury is the organization's continued investment in future generations. Win Waste's most recent donation of $35,000, received today, right here, provides students with experiential learning opportunities that would not be realized without this support. These motivating life experiences result in authentic connections between school and career, while equipping students with opportunities to practice life skills and experiences that are essential to their development. For the second year in a row, I was invited by SHS Science and Engineering teacher John Brocky and Don Musial to join a portion of the field study to the Wynn monofill today with John and over 30 environmental science students. Over the years, John has shared that this field study in particular is critical to helping students connect their in-class learning to real-world application. Today's environmental science students visited the Wynn landfill off Route 20, as I mentioned, the Westboro wastewater treatment plant, and the E.L. Harvey Materials Recovery Facility. John has aptly named the field study a waste of a day. During the landfill tour today, Don, landfill operators, and Wynn's education outreach team shared information about what the landfill does. Students, all 30 plus of them, witnessed firsthand the efforts and processes involved in both day-to-day operations as well as those undertaken to mitigate and control the leaching of hazardous waste. A few examples include getting to see and feel the different layers of the liner of the landfill, witnessing metal being recovered, and concluding the trip by driving the school bus filled with all the students through the rinse station to ensure that no contaminants are transported off-site. I think Don mentioned that's one of a favorite part of the trip. Win Waste Innovations continues to strongly support our students with career exploration opportunities, including job shadowing, internships, and paid employment, as funding has been used for transportation to internship sites, programming and certifications, including OSHA entry-level certification that focuses on basic safety, hazard recognition, and workers' rights. This year, funding included Explore the Trades opportunities at the Peterson School, hands-on learning at the North Atlantic States Carpenters Training Fund in Millbury, the BV Hub, and other locations. Thanks to the coordination of Karen Aris and others, approximately 30 students participated in during the school day internships this school year, with several more outside the school day internships. Just yesterday, Karen shared with Principal Todd Bazidlo and me that the Component Sources International Group, CSI, a contract manufacturer and distributor of custom design precision mechanical components and assemblies in Westboro, offered one of our seniors, who is currently there, participating in a 7-week, 5-day-a-week internship, a full-time position upon graduation from Shrewsbury High School. He will be a mechanical inspector at CSI. His supervisors had fabulous things to say about him, and he is over the moon, according to Karen. Additionally, as you heard recently from Ken Almeida here at the table, our Director of World Languages, SHS students will participate in a first ever medical interpreting certification program beginning this fall, 2026, thanks to Win Waste generosity. The sponsorship propels the important work of connecting languages to careers by providing SHS students with opportunities to earn medical interpreting certification through a program that is aligned to workforce and post-secondary needs. The total cost is $26,962. Upon successful completion of this program, graduates will receive a 60-hour medical interpreting certificate of completion, qualifying them for entry-level opportunities in the medical interpreting field. They will be well prepared to facilitate clear, accurate communication in healthcare settings and to support equitable access to care for individuals with limited English proficiency. And again, all of this is made possible due to your generosity, and we're deeply grateful. So thank you, and thank you, Ken, for your work.
Can I say something?
You absolutely
All right,
can.
great. Well, thank you for inviting me tonight to be here. Dr. Lazat is fantastic, as you guys know. We've been working together for about 5 years now in her current role with businesses in the community and relationships and how those things work. Tonight's actually very interesting to hear your praise. This was wonderful. And it's like, I'm not used to coming to public meetings and being the undercard, which is really nice. So thank you for that. But today is actually really nice. As Dr. Lazat said, today we hosted the field trip, the annual field trip that John Brocky brings to the site. I think this is almost our 10th year with him bringing the troops out there. And we got it down pat pretty well now. And we know the routine, we know what the questions are going to be, so it's a lot of fun. The students ask fantastic questions, and just so happened to be today, which was great. We invite Dr. Lazat out, and it's a nice chance for a nice photo op with the students, with us. And every year, John Brocky picks a fantastic weather day. I don't know what it is, but if you're planning on something nice outside, listen to what he has to say, because it's usually really nice. So this afternoon, on top of the landfill and the solar farm, we're surrounded by 12 acres of solar panels. We're out there with the school bus wedged in there, and all the students out there, and we got to talk a little bit. And so Dr. Lazat gave a nice speech about what this type of money can do for school systems and where it comes from. And then I kind of capped it off with the students by saying, like, this is something that they should aspire to as they grow up. Like they're students now, and some are seniors, some are juniors, and just like kind of emphasizing to them that when you enter the workforce and you become leaders in the workforce, and either a manager of business or a director of this or whatever it might be, that there's the opportunities to give back to the community. And that's why we were there. That's why I'm here tonight, is just exemplifying and saying, hey, to you guys who are 17 years old right now, 18 years old, like, this is how it works as a business, giving back to communities. This is what it looks like, and hopefully we gave a good example of that today. So thank you for that. You were able to give me that today, so thank you. And again, this is I think our 4th year or 5th year of this particular contribution, which is made part by the solar facility at the Montefiore, which the town sited and developed with us. But I think we're close to about $150,000 now in contributions from that solar field back through us, back to the town, that otherwise wouldn't have really existed. So it's a great thing, and so thank you very much. I appreciate all the work that Dr. Lazat has done in the reception with the town with these funds. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
First, I want to say thank you for sitting through all of that. I really appreciate it.
It was not painful at all.
Oh, thank
Wonderful.
you. Thank you. I could see you sitting there. I felt so bad, but thank you. And I like what you just said about like it being a learning for like when you're 17, thinking and giving back, and that's what we want students to understand. Like being parts of your community is giving back and doing that. And if you can financially at some point, that's just paying it forward.
Yep.
So thank you, Dr. Lazat, for having this relationship. It's paid dividends for sure. And to Mr. Almeida, I know when we were talking about this new program with medical interpretation, like we felt this was something we wanted to do, and this budget year was tighter than we anticipated it, but during our workshop we need to get this done. So thank you so much for making this, for bringing it forward, and for making it a possibility.
Yeah, just thank you all for all the work that you're doing, your partnership, When Waste, Mr. Almeida, Dr. Lazat. It really highlights how much we've evolved the career and technical education space, finding new ways to bring new opportunities to students, and then really that's what it's all about. I mean, over the last 2.5 years, we've just seen things grow exponentially, and in large part to the partnerships from businesses like One Way. So thank you very much.
I also want to echo that and say thank you for your partnership and investment in what we feel are very important parts of being a part of Shrewsbury Public Schools. And we couldn't make this possible without your leadership and your donations. As Ms. Fritz said, especially with the medical interpreting program, that was very important to us. And when Mr. Alameda came and told us about it, I think there was complete support from this committee, and I think there was a little bit of a fear that if it wasn't in our budget, this was something that we really wanted to make happen. So I'm very appreciative that this was able to come through, because this is something, working in the medical field, that I know how important it is, and this is a great opportunity, and I'm glad that we can offer this to students. So thank you for making this possible.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Once again, I echo the sentiments of my colleagues. One, the charitable contributions. The second thing, as Ms. Rex mentioned, the opportunity to ingrain the young minds with the importance of giving back to the community, right? It's not just taking it and then utilizing it, but think about paying it forward. I think that goes very well. That's worth more than the rest of the things. So, but I did personally appreciate all the long time commitment and contributions to the school community through several means. The partners like you makes these programs run and help children achieve their one best day in their high school life. So it's good to hear that what students are experiencing when during these field trips, their experiences, coming back to here and sharing that experience, and feedback is really enlightening for us, for sure. But thank you for your continued support, and
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd also like to echo my colleagues' comments. Thank you so much for being here this evening and for your continued support. It's been a tremendous partnership for the district, and we're very grateful. I'm happy to see Mr. Almeida's program getting off the ground this year. I think it's going to be an excellent addition. And I'm also very pleased that we're going to be able to use some of the additional funds to continue some hands-on career technical experiences. So thank you again for all of your support. Dr. Sawyer?
Thank you. And if we may, Madam Chair, maybe for those who weren't tuned in the first time, maybe just a brief synopsis, Mr. Almeida, about what this program is going to bring as far as what these dollars are being used for, and what program we're getting off the ground.
So first of all, thank you. Your donation is making students find a purpose for going to school. I think that is that's so meaningful to students. So thank you for that. The program is going to allow students to first, at Shrewsbury High School, prepare for an internship, which involves two things. It involves the actual certification of completion course, and also we're going to partner with the Center for Health Alliance in Worcester, where they're going to coordinate the internship part of the course, where students are going to have field experience, working grassroots level with the various clinics throughout the Worcester County that serve people without insurance, that are for the most vulnerable in our population. So what a way of paying things forward for our community, and I'm so proud of this work, this collective work, and Dr. Lizotte for making this possible, making this connection, all of you for championing it. But yeah, this is just such this is probably one of the most happiest moments from my career, is to see this program come to fruition, because the idea started a while ago, and I can tell you that it's already been so impactful. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to add my thanks with Mr. Almeida's, and to Mr. Almeida himself for leading this effort, and to his staff for getting it off the ground. We're looking forward to the results. And I think it's a good example of continuing to find ways to innovate and find ways to meet within the strategic priorities that the school committee has established around trying to get kids more connected to potential careers and in the workplace. Certainly, I want to thank Win Waste and for Mr. Musial for all the support over the years. To have a community partner who is repeatedly generous the way you all have been has been a real boon to our programming. And I think that one thing that I know that the school committee is very appreciative of and proud of is that, several years back, when our students lost the kind of access to vocational technical high school that they previously enjoyed, a small number, but still a number that we were able to provide that for anymore, we looked at, and I appreciate Dr. Lizotte was tasked to lead along with Mr. Bazidlo, Ms. Ayers when she came on board, Ms. Flynn at the high school, our director of school counseling, to build more career technical education into our high school experience and a middle school experience as well. And we have such a stronger program now, several years later, that not only affects those students who otherwise may have gone to vocational technical high school, but students who may not have considered that at all, but are having those experiences through Shrewsbury High School, through these internships, through these courses, through these career pathways. And that's certainly a legacy that Ms. Fritz and the committee members who have been on the last several years, present and past, can feel really good about. And I think that's something that, as a school district, we're particularly proud of. And these donations have really helped us to move that forward. So thank you for your generosity. And I certainly recommend that the school committee vote to accept the gift.
May I have a motion that the committee vote to accept a donation of $35,000 from Wind Waste Innovations and use such funds for their intended purpose?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
The next item on our agenda this evening is under policy. In October of 2021, the committee adopted School Committee Policy 394, COVID-19 Staff Vaccination Policy, which included verbiage noting it would remain in place for a period of 5 years or until rescinded by the school committee and may be reviewed or revised in response to issuance of public health and medical recommendations. Over the course of the past years, the impact of COVID-19 virus and the level of risk has moderated greatly. Matching its approach to flu prevention, the district has encouraged employees to update their vaccinations annually and provides free opportunities to receive both flu and COVID-19 vaccines at work. The existing policy, however, does not require vaccine updates for existing employees, but it does require all new employees to prove that they have had the original vaccine protocol that existed in 2021, which does not match the current approach. In light of this, it is recommended that this policy be repealed. So, does anyone have any questions or comments? I view this as kind of a housekeeping matter.
Yep.
Wanted to be sure to bring back something for the pandemic from Ms. Fritz's last meeting.
Yeah.
So may I have a motion that the committee vote to repeal Policy 394, COVID-19 Staff Vaccination Policy?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item on our agenda this evening is going to be postponed. We had a policy position description of an assistant superintendent for community partnerships and well-being. We're going to move that to a future meeting. And then the next item on our agenda is in budget update. So based on updated information, Dr. Sawyer and Mr. Girardi plan to present an updated fiscal year 2027 school department town appropriated budget for the committee's consideration. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Boucher, and while the slide deck is coming up, I will just start by saying that appreciate the support the committee's provided to our recommendations throughout the budget season, which goes all the way back to October when we started doing this work. The process this year, I think, again, in terms of context, we remain very fortunate as a community. When headline after headline over the last few months has been about school districts making really severe cuts to personnel and programming across the Commonwealth in many different kinds of communities, communities that are struggling economically, communities that are quite wealthy, because of the structural deficit that Proposition 2.5 creates for the funding of local government, including local public schools. And the 2021 operational override in the agreement between the school committee and the select board to be able to convince the community to pay for a tax increase, put money aside in a stabilization account, draw on it over time as necessary, and to be able to make a commitment not to come back to the community and ask for more. And the commitment was for at least 4 fiscal years, and this is going to go through 7 fiscal years, I believe, at this point. With stability. I cannot tell you how important that stability has been to our school district over the last several years. It enables us to focus on the important work of teaching and learning and not trying to figure out how we're going to do something different with fewer resources. And I feel for the communities that are going through that now. We had some bad years in the past before the 2014 override, and then we got to a place again where in 2021, and I will always be enormously grateful for the Shrewsbury community stepping up, passing that override, and providing these resources to our schools. So this is all in the context, this is a good news story. Last evening, Mr. Mizikar, our town manager, presented an updated budget to the select board based on the most updated information he has with regard to potential state funding, local receipts, all the different elements that he very carefully reviews and projects as far as the revenue the town can expect. And in that recommendation, he revised the recommendation for the school department to be at 4.50%, which was just very slightly under the 4.53% that I recommended to you and that you unanimously approved back on April 15th. At that time, based on communications between myself and the town manager, it was the plan that was underway was to utilize $200,000 of alternative funding, similar to what had happened a couple of years ago, where there's some curriculum that was purchased with some alternative town funding, as a way to maintain our programming and personnel at that level. This newest update and recommendation from the town manager is just a straight 4.50% year-over-year increase for the school department budget. And what we'll present to you this evening, and you can see on your screen there, is that that is the updated recommendation is aligned with where the town manager is as well. That will go forward to the finance committee for their recommendation at a future date, and will go to town meeting, of course, for their approval of the bottom line. I think that, fortunately, and things, as you know, are very dynamic in a school department budget, and there even have been some changes since we last met, and when you voted on it April 15th, that enable us to make that number work with, some reductions over what our original plan was. Most of them are the ones I presented to you back in April, but at the same time, be able to preserve things and not make any further reductions of significance. So with that, you see the number there that's recommended for this evening. If you can go to the next slide, Mr. Girardi. This just is the same format we provided on April 15th, where shows the original budget and where we've gone from there. The changes are highlighted in yellow. Where you can see that, one of the things we were coping with that we presented to you on April 15th is that from the time the original budget recommendation in February happened through mid-April, and very much in early April, there were some additional cost increases for our projections that we had to figure out how to absorb, and that's what's represented here. The very significant increase in out-of-district special education tuition, which is about $310,000 increase that we talked about April 15th, that's moderated a little bit. We're down by about $35,000 from April 15th. That will continue to evolve. That's why it's so important to have that circuit breaker reserve in case what we are projecting doesn't play out the way we are expecting at this point in time. But that is always a dynamic area of the budget that can fluctuate greatly from month to month. In addition to that, there's a very small decrease in money we're putting into the budget because we were expecting to have a slight reduction in our Title I grant. That's the same as we presented on the 15th. And then we had projected a slight increase of $15,000 in our vocational tuition line. That's actually reversed itself because the deadline for students to determine whether they will attend next year was actually after April 15th, and now we actually have more certainty, and it's gone in a way that enables us to reduce our funding for VOTEC tuitions for next year. This next slide just shows again the number of students for special education out of district. Still the same number of 53 students compared to 50 from February. Just a slight modification, a reduction of a little bit less than around $35,000 year over year, but that the number remains the same. You can see that in this next slide. This was the display that Ms. Belcito presented on the 15th that showed the distribution of students in terms of the cost of their out-of-district programs for tuition for a year. And the yellow highlighted there shows that $35,000 change in estimate since April 15th. I'll let Mr. Girardi speak to this next slide. Again, it's a lot of information on the page. When people have the slide on their laptop, they can certainly zoom in, but this is the display we've been showing for the last few years in terms of how our circuit breaker works, in terms of our reserve, what we expect to receive, what we expect to pay out to subsidize these costs, and what we expect to have in the bank at the end of the following fiscal year to meet a benchmark that we establish for what we're looking for. But I'll let Mr. Girardi speak to that and where we are with that benchmark based on this newest plan.
Thank you, Dr. Sawyer. The first number that we look at is the total out-of-district tuition cost projection for FY27. So we make a projection based on what we believe the tuitions are going to be, based on the current number of students that we have, and the increase in tuition costs in FY27 over FY26. That number is currently at $8,313,567. That's a difference of $515,000 in change over our February projection, and it's just slightly at the $35,320 under our April 15th projection. We still are maintaining, or we are estimating a circuit breaker reserve at the end of this current fiscal year, FY26, of $3,085,152, with an estimated $265,500 in additional carry forward over our current FY26 positive budget variance. We also estimate circuit breaker funds to be received in FY27 based on our current FY26 costs to be just over $4.6 million. These are the numbers in orange. If you add those numbers up in orange, you get just under $8 million. You have $7,977,094, which is the total estimated circuit breaker funds that we will have available in fiscal year 2027. So our estimated planned use of circuit breaker funds in FY27 to offset tuitions, again, the total tuitions being the $8,313,567 in the green line. We plan on using just over $5.6 million in circuit breaker funds in FY27. That requires us to offset the additional costs through our town appropriation funds. And at this point, with the $8,313,000 $567 tuition costs, that would require us to spend or to utilize $5,671 that Dr. Sawyer spoke to in the slide previously. If you add those two purple lines up, it comes out to that green cost of the $8,313,567 that pays the tuitions that we are projecting for FY27. That would leave us an estimated circuit breaker reserve balance at the end of FY27 at just over $2.3 million. And that would bring us to the 50% marker that we have been striving for, again, to carry forward a balance that would allow us to have a reserve if things were to happen heading into FY27. Anything to add there, Dr. Sawyer?
No, I think that you can talk about what that represents in terms of a percentage.
Sure. So in terms of a percentage, again, this is the guide recommendation that we use when we're trying to be fiscally responsible folks who are managing the school department budget. You can see that $2,313,223 represents the 50% total carry forward that we could bring forward at the end of FY27. That represents about 2.5% of the budget if the budget is at the 4.5% increase of the $94,405,286.
So, and I know that's been important to the school committee, just in terms of making sure, and given the volatility that we see, particularly with out of district, but that's also a reserve that for any unexpected expense that we're not, could go differently than what we're projecting.
And this graph here, it really represents somewhere between strong and adequate, right? It's not superior. There are many districts that we would like to be, we would like to be one of those districts where we were in the superior category. We have been there. The past few years, we have been using more circuit breaker reserve that has brought us from 100% a few years ago to 75 to the 50% where we're at now. And I think per your feelings around carrying a circuit breaker forward, 50% really is a place where we wouldn't want to be under.
So with that, the updated budget recommendation to get to the 4.50% year-over-year increase in the school department appropriation. This is a display we showed on the 15th. The two highlighted in yellow at the top, we've made adjustments there. We do have some additional savings that we'll realize in our Unit A educators, teachers, and other professional educators. We have another full year leave for parental leave that the salary differential will be substantial. And another resignation where we'll have some differences in the replacement cost. So a difference of another $71,000 in savings there. As I spoke to earlier, the Voc Tech tuition budget, we've had 7 fewer students compared to April 15th. That's because we were notified that there's 2 students who are currently at Assabet who will not persist there into next year. And then there were 5 fewer students who had not yet responded at that time. The deadline had not come yet to decide whether or not a student would go to Leicester High School for 9th grade for their Chapter 74 program. But we were able to remove 5 students who were going to attend Shrewsbury High School instead. So that total of 7 fewer tuitions now allows us to save a shade under $90,000. The rest of the numbers in white, no change from what we presented in April 15th. I would note that the curriculum budget reduction of $35,000, we just filled that gap with the donation from Win Waste. And so that's something, of course, from the report from the outside consultant, DMG, to be careful of the risk of relying on outside donations, philanthropy, competitive grants and the like to fund things that we need year over year. But obviously, if we are able to get those funds, and we appreciate Dr. Lazat making that connection, that offsets that and that enables us to do work that otherwise we wouldn't if we had, because we're making that reduction out of the appropriated budget. And then the other one highlighted in yellow is a relatively small, there's over $10 million budget for para-educator compensation. It's a slight $21,000 reduction just based on personnel changes that we're projecting for next year and cost of various personnel. All that together, it's a just under $510,000 reduction over the number if we, based on the cost increases after the initial budget recommendation, that brings us down to that 4.5% number. This next is just briefly a display of the number of positions that we are reducing in our program. We're doing all this through attrition. This is all being done without affecting programming. A number of elementary classroom sections reduced. We have some lower enrollment in certain places across the district. And all these are tied in different ways to either changing needs or changing enrollment. The first two at the top are the only things we're adding. We're adding a middle school math specialist to address students who have need there, and a small fraction, a 1 day a week addition, although it's during the day. This person works currently 5 days a week, 80% of the day. That position at Sherwood, a nurse position, will go to full-time every day to address some student health needs there. But this is the same as what we presented to you on April 15th. The rest of the categories here, we'll just go through very briefly. This is by the categories that we show in terms of our budget summary. These all just the numbers that reflect the changes that we just presented to you. So you can see in those 2 salary lines in Unit A and among para-educators. The next category, no change in transportation or special education transportation. For tuitions, special education that Mr. Girardi went through, and the vocational tuitions that I just spoke to, those changed from the original recommendation April 15th. This next slide just does show the updated numbers for vocational students. So now there'll be 46 students that we project to be out next year in those tuition seats at other schools, Assabet and Leicester, and 1 student at Norfolk Agricultural. In the D categories, very slight adjustments. The D3 category, slightly above 3%. That is where we had taken the $200,000 reduction. If that money were to come from another source, that $200,000 was put back in. And so that is Ms. Clowder's budget to work on textbooks and curriculum materials is restored compared to the last plan. And then under supplies and materials, we'd had a slight reduction there before that we restored. So it's right at the 3% benchmark that we established generally for categories for inflation. These next 2 slides, just briefly, Mr. Girardi will talk a little bit about Chapter 70 and what we have right now in terms of the governor's budget and the House budget.
So since April 15th, we received some information that there's a potential of $160 per student that the House budget presented. So what we're toggling between right now is the governor's budget, which has a $75 per student Chapter 70 formula, and $160 per student Chapter 70 formula. So what we're just showing here is what the difference in funds coming from the state would be between the 2 scenarios. So this shows year over year from fiscal year 18 through current, what we receive in Chapter 70 state aid. The green is the baseline. So once we receive aid for a given year, that becomes the new baseline for the next year. So the green is the baseline, and then in years up to FY26, the red is the increase that we received in that given year. So for FY27, the numbers that we're looking at is if we get $75 per student, working off of the $22.5 million baseline, that would be just over around $437,775 increase in Chapter 70 state aid. If we receive $160 per student, that would be $933,920 in new dollars through Chapter 70. So it's about a $400,500 difference, between the 2.
And just to be clear, when we say we, it's we as a town.
Yes.
Those dollars flow to the general fund, and they're utilized as part of the school department budget that's appropriated by town meeting.
And just to look at it a little bit differently, this is the total operating budget since FY22. What we have for FY27 is the $94,405,286 recommendation at the 4.5%. The 2 columns to the far right, FY27, if we're estimating $75 per student, it shows the difference between what we would receive in state funding and the offset that would have for the total school department budget funds that would be received through the local contribution. And then conversely, next to that is the at $160 per student, and again, that would be $496,000 and change in additional Chapter 70 funding if it's increased to that $160 per student amount. We meeting the town receiving those funds, which would go to the school department. And finally, this is just shows the total increase. So the $4,065,300 is the increase from FY26 to FY27 if it's at 4.5%. So it just shows the differential between of the total increase in school department funds. It shows it separates out what would be received from state aid, to the Chapter 70 state aid versus the local aid. And the increase, it would make up at $160 per student. That would be $933,920 of an increase. That'd be 23% of the total increase, with the remaining 77% coming from local revenue sources.
So these last couple of slides in your packet just show all the categories rolled up together, and you can see the bottom line of 94.4 million, slightly over $4 million increase year over year at 4.50%, which is my updated recommendation. And if you're willing to adopt that tonight and vote that, then that will be the information that goes into the budget packet that we send to town meeting members for their consideration. And for those who may not be as familiar with local government here in Massachusetts, for municipal school districts like ours, the town meeting members as a legislative body vote on the town budget, and as part of that, for the school department, for the bottom line budget, the school committee has responsibility for the line item budget in terms of how that works. You do have in your packet a line item budget that's updated with all this information that's been presented to you. So the vote this evening would recommend both that number to town meeting and then the line item budget, presuming town meeting approves the budget, that we would be working with as we move forward into the next fiscal year. So happy to answer any questions or hear your comments, and would ask that you vote to adopt this updated recommendation this evening.
Thank you. Thank you for this updated budget. I think that this budget cycle has shown just how volatile that our budget is, because we started this and we had one number and then it went to somewhere else and we swung. It just went back and forth. So thank you for staying on top of this and truly making adjustments where when we needed to have adjustments and advocating for us to have the right budget. I think it's important, I do have one question, but I think it's important to go back to our DMG report too, that when we're looking at the budget and we're talking to the town about this, that we as a district perform in the top 15%. While we're spending in the bottom 15%. And the question I have is, and I'm pretty sure that I saw something, but in terms of our administration, aren't we spending in the bottom 20%, which means that 80% of districts spend more than we do on administrative? Is that correct?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, based on, I know Mr. Girardi's going to do some, provide some data at the next meeting in May, and there'll be some information in the town meeting packet, but, and you can confirm that the report that DMG did was based on the most complete set of data at the time last year, which was 2023 per pupil expenditure reports from the Department of Education. And that's a report that does apples to apples based on year-end reports, whether it's a municipal district or a regional district, whatever it might be. And that this year, Mr. Girardi is completing the data that has the 2024 fiscal year data that we're still, I think, very much in the same range, 15%, bottom 15% for overall spending. But in terms of the administration, that's, I think, bottom 20%. So yes, 80% of school districts would be spending more on a per pupil basis on administration than we are.
FY24 with the 20th percentile, so you're right on target there.
Okay, I think that's just important to know too, that, you know, for some that may think that we're top heavy in terms of administration, not really. And what we're spending on that is very low compared to other districts. So, anyway, thank you for this.
Just in comparison to our DART districts, which are the districts that the state compares us to, based on a whole series of different data, is where out of 11 districts in that DART information, we are the fifth from the bottom. So we're number 5 out of 11 with administration, and we're actually 5 out of 11 also with the ASAPET districts, which are our more local districts. So it's pretty consistent across as far as the administration data is concerned.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The other thing I should mention, and I should have mentioned in the presentation, is that when we presented to you on April 15th, we also illustrated what it would look like if my recommendation would be, it wasn't my recommendation at the time, still would not be, but if we had to go all the way to the 4.25% level budget, and there were 3 positions, a psychologist position, a school adjustment counseling position, and an English language education teaching position, that we could not fill through attrition, but it would have strained our resources for sure in those areas. Under this budget scenario, that's not a concern. Those positions are in the budget. And especially since it's 4.5% is on the base going forward to the next year, that's something that we're very comfortable with. So I wanted to mention that as well.
Thank you.
I really want to thank you, Dr. Sawyer, and for your advocacy, and the relationship you have with Kevin Mizikar, our town manager, is due to a lot of work. And both of you look to do what's best for the community, regardless of if it's a municipal or a school budget. It's really, we're all cognizant of the fact that there's limited dollars. I'm really grateful that Mr. Mizikar has recommended to the select board that we have a 4.5%, because that will mean FY '28 will start a bottom line of 4.5%. And to me, that was one of my concerns, what the next year would be going forward. So thank you very much, and thank you to Mr. Mizikar and to the select board for considering this. I think it's vital for the school department to have the funds that we need to move everything forward, level services forward. But again, we do recognize the fact that there is limited funds. And Rachel, your point around administration, I think to really underscore that, if you looked at a corporate organization of this size, we would not have the number of administrators we have. We would have a lot more. And it's just, we have always done a lot with less, but that doesn't mean that there's a lot of stress on these individuals. They work so hard day in and day out to get the work done, with new demands coming in every time. So I think it's a good point. We, the bottom % for spending, and we also have the bottom % of spending on administration, and the number of administrators we have for principals and is low compared to all these other districts. So that's a great point to bring up.
Yeah, I echo the sentiments of my colleagues. I want to thank Dr. Sawyer, Mr. Girardi, and the partnership that we've had, certainly with Town Manager Mizikar, and I agree, Select Board considering the 4.5. I agree. I'm glad Mr. Report brought up the administration cost per pupil. And I think just in general, the data that was presented in the DMG report and many reports that we presented over the years speak to how we always are doing more with less. And the cost per pupil, the data tells this story. It doesn't quite fit some of the negative narratives that I've heard when it comes to like too much administration. Why do we have 4 assistant principals at the high school? We've got close to 2,000 students up at the high school.
Exactly.
It's just I'm a firm believer in making sure that you do your homework, you look at the data, and you understand and appreciate where this district sits in terms of cost per pupil. And we've said it time and time again. Like, what would we be spending if we spent towards the state average? It's something ridiculous, right? So we're fortunate to be in this position, as Dr. Sawyer said. We've been fortunate since we worked on that override in 2021. And there are so many other districts that are in a tough spot right now, and there's a lot of override chatter out there. Unfortunately, we've remained stable. So I appreciate all the work and the forward thinking that's been going on here, especially in this budget cycle, because this was the first time in like the last 5 budget cycles that we've actually had to think through what a budget gap looks like post May 2021 override. So thank you very much.
Also, yeah, I got the same thing. Thank you for keeping on top of it, both on the internally working on the numbers, and also working closely with the town manager and and then also making sure the select board goes with the recommendation. One quick question regarding the difference between what we have initially proposed, what you have initially proposed, and what is now that 25,000 gap difference, right? Just for the people watching at home, so what that $25,000 less impact looks like, is and then how we are overcoming that gap.
Sure. Well, we were fortunate that because even things that developed since April 15th have developed in a way that are actually reducing what some of our costs are to carry for what we have right now. So there really isn't any additional negative impact. There's not really a negative impact in the sense that, our cost for our teacher group are going down because we have this year-long leave. We do not need to pay as much tuition for our VOTEC students because there's fewer going out. So there's no impact there. It's just fewer students who are choosing to avail themselves of that opportunity, and which is their family's choice, of course. And then some slight differentials in what we're projecting for what we need to pay for our paraprofessional group next year. Not any fewer positions. And the positions that were shown, if you maybe show that slide, just shows the for reductions. Not that one, I'm sorry, if you keep going back. No. Right there, yep. So well, that's the cost increase, I'm sorry, if you go, there we go, right there, thank you. You know, those three yellow highlighted areas are places where we really had changes, which didn't, you know, the other pieces there, reducing a special education teacher, that was in the original plan from April 15th. That's because we don't need that position to meet the needs of our number of students in our census for next year. You know, the hardware, software budget, the curriculum budget reductions backfilled by the donation we just received. Hardware and software, you know, that's $30,000 of things we won't purchase. If over time, as we manage through the budget next year, I say we, as they manage through the budget next year, you know, if there's opportunities because things are, you know, coming in better certain places, then I'm sure Mr. Phillips would be given the opportunity to make those investments. We always monitor that carefully. And I should take this opportunity to shout out, I know the state budget's not finalized yet, but I know Representative Kane has a couple of earmarks, like around capital investments. Senator Moore in the the supplemental budget at the state level, which isn't finalized yet, but his office has assured me that it's unlikely this will change. I think there's an $85,000 earmark specifically for safety and security infrastructure investment, which when we can get those kinds of earmarks or funds, or we've had grant funds for that, we're able to take some of the pressure off of the town or the municipal government, which of course oversees our buildings and our building infrastructure. But we've been able to invest in, we don't talk about specifics because it's safety and security, but we've been able to make investments in our infrastructure thanks to these kinds of pieces as well. But you know, along those same lines, if we find opportunities that we can get funding, potentially outside funding for an investment in technology, we'll do that. The doctoral assistant hours, the media assistant hours, those are things that were in the previous plan. They're not, again, because we have lower enrollment in certain places at elementary, we can absorb those things. And again, that last piece of the Unity paraeducator compensation, no change in FTE beyond those two lines above, but just the total cost we're estimating is a little bit less. So the good news is really we can move from, you know, a very small amount, right, about $25,000 plan over plan, but at the same time, $200,000 that was going to be funded someplace else that we put back in. So it wasn't just it was more like $225,000, but because of these different developments, we were able to offset that and be in a position where we can carry forward without any additional negative impact on the program. So we're very pleased that that's the case. And again, there'll be a budget that gets approved at town meeting. Hopefully it's this one. Throughout the year, numbers are changing, of course, and Mr. Girardi will come to you at the last meeting of this fiscal year to talk about where we're at the current fiscal year and asking you to balance out accounts because some will be coming in, you know, under where we projected a year plus ago. Some will be coming in a little over. We'll spend out those dollars, and you know, if we're projecting about 260,000 or so under budget, which will go into that circuit breaker reserve account, right? And if we end up doing a little bit more than that, that's great. If it ends up that we're a little tighter than that, we'll have to adjust a little bit. The other reason why that 50% benchmark is important, because if we do have things that don't play out the way we're expecting, especially in some of the more volatile areas around special education, you know, we have a safety net there that we can manage as a school department and you can manage as a school committee without having to go back. Sometimes you see in the news where school districts are going back to town meeting asking for more money because of unexpected costs that might have evolved during a fiscal year. In my time in Shrewsbury, I've never seen that happen in 30 years. I don't think it's going to start anytime soon, but it's a way to make sure that we're being fiscally responsible. So I appreciate the question.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank you for the continued work on this recommendation, and I appreciate all the thoughtful work that's gone into this. It's definitely been, you know, a very volatile and fluid year for us, and I appreciate, as the numbers have matured, that we are continuing to refine and make adjustments, and I'm supportive of this recommendation. Does anyone have any further comments or questions? No. Okay. Right, may I have a motion that the school committee vote to recommend an updated fiscal year 2027 town appropriated school department budget of $94,405,286 as presented for town meeting approval.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is the evaluation of the superintendent. The superintendent's performance evaluation provides feedback on Dr. Sawyer's performance from May 2025 through the present. I have taken the feedback from the committee members and put together a composite evaluation, and I will summarize this evaluation at this time. So, the first item is student learning goal. By April 2026, the superintendent of schools will have successfully facilitated a review of the district's student services by an outside expert in order to provide insight into what best practices are already in place, consider opportunities for improvement, and look for potential efficiencies to inform the work of meeting the district's strategic commitments to educational excellence, the enhanced well-being of all, and optimization of resources. We have given Dr. Sawyer significant progress in this category. Dr. Sawyer has made meaningful progress on this goal by building on the strong, data-driven foundation established in last year's district management group assessment. He focused this year's work on student services, an area that is both complex and critical to ensuring we are meeting student needs while also operating as efficiently as possible. By facilitating a review with an external expert, Dr. Sawyer is leading a comprehensive evaluation of current practices. This approach helped validate where the district is performing well, while also identifying clear opportunities to improve service delivery, streamline structures, and better align resources. The committee values that this work is grounded in data and benchmarking rather than anecdotal input, which strengthens the credibility of the findings and recommendations. This is a continuation of a multi-year effort to thoughtfully assess and refine how the district operates. Dr. Sawyer's leadership in this area positions the district well to make informed decisions that balance high-quality student support with responsible stewardship of district resources. The next item is professional practice goal. By April 2026, the superintendent of schools will have taken steps to facilitate a smooth, positive, and supportive transition of superintendent leadership for the district. We have rated this category significant progress. Dr. Sawyer has done an outstanding job prioritizing a smooth transition to the next superintendent. He's been proactive in working with Dr. Ostrander since her appointment in March, meeting regularly and involving her with the leadership team to ensure she has a clear understanding of the district's priorities and challenges. Dr. Ostrander has already been included in school committee meetings, budget workshops, and meeting with the town's finance committee. Given this is the first leadership transition in 17 years, the committee appreciates the focus on continuity and setting Dr. Ostrander up for success from day one. Dr. Sawyer's approach has been thoughtful, collaborative, and clearly centered on maintaining momentum for the district. Overall, this is an ongoing, strong, and professional effort that positions the district well for a stable and successful transition into the next school year. The next item is progress towards strategic goals, the district's strategic goals and action steps for the 2025-2026 school year. And we've rated this category met. Significant progress has been met on advancing the district's key strategic goals. School improvement plans have continued to align well with the district's strategic priorities and goals. The annual dinner workshop with the school committee and district leadership and the joint meeting of all school councils continue to be valuable opportunities to advance this work. Promising gains have been made with the continued full implementation of Year 2 of the literacy program in grades K to 6 and Year 1 in grades 7 to 8, with continued focus on using assessment data to provide interventions to students who have not yet reached benchmarks. Data that has been reported at school committee meetings indicates that fewer students are requiring interventions, particularly at the K-4 level. CTE programming implementation has continued in a positive direction, with almost 200 new students joining career pathways at Shrewsbury High School, and career awareness activities have also increased, particularly at the middle school level. The next phase of the Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports program has been implemented. The potential Shrewsbury High School expansion project has continued to move forward after receiving overwhelming approval by town meeting to receive the necessary funding for the feasibility study and schematic design phase, and an owner's project manager has been recently selected. The next standard is instructional leadership. With regard to curriculum, ensures that all instructional staff design ensures that all instructional staff design effective and rigorous standards-based units of instruction consisting of well-structured lessons with measurable outcomes. We rated exemplary. Instruction ensures that practices in all settings reflect high expectations regarding content and quality of effort and work, engage all students, and are personalized to accommodate diverse learning styles, needs, interests, and levels of readiness. We rated proficient. Next category, assessment, ensures that all principals and administrators facilitate practices that propel personnel to use a variety of formal and informal methods and assessments to measure student learning, growth, and understanding, and make necessary adjustments to their practice when students are not learning. Proficient. The next category is evaluation, ensures effective and timely supervision and evaluation of all staff in alignment with state regulations and contract provisions. We rated proficient. The next category is data-informed decision-making, uses multiple sources of evidence related to student learning, including state, district, and school assessment results and growth data to inform school and district goals and improve organizational performance, educator effectiveness, and student learning. We rated exemplary. The overall rating for instructional leadership is proficient. Dr. Sawyer leads by example and does not expect more of others than he does of himself. His number one concern is student learning and ensuring that all students receive the educational services they need to be successful. Dr. Sawyer has continued to support the implementation of the K-8 literacy program and the use of data to determine student academic interventions. Reading progress is monitored and interventions are determined using the STAR assessment. The high school and middle school levels have partnered with consultant TNTP to promote instructional strategies to advance both excellence and equity. Dr. Sawyer has participated in and reinforced professional development to the district leadership team on addressing opportunities and challenges posed by artificial intelligence as follow-up work to the AI Study Committee's recommendations from last year. Dr. Sawyer has continued to support SHS leadership, Dr. Lizotte, Ms. Aries, and Ms. Flynn in the connection with continued implementation of career and technical education opportunities at the high school. Dr. Sawyer stays abreast of new trends in education and seeks to bring into the district instructional practices that reflect the high standards the community expects. Management and operations, Standard 2. Environment. Develops and executes effective plans, procedures, routines, and operational systems to address a full range of safety, health, emotional, and social needs. We rated proficient. Human resource management and development implements a cohesive approach to recruiting, hiring, induction, development, and career growth that promotes high quality and effective practice. We rated proficient. Scheduling and management information systems uses systems to ensure optimal use of data and time for teaching, learning, and collaboration, minimizing disruptions and distractions for school-level staff. We rated proficient. Law, ethics, and policies understands and complies with state and federal laws and mandates, school committee policies, collective bargaining agreements, and ethical guidelines. We rated proficient. Fiscal systems develops a budget that supports the district's vision, mission, and goals, allocates and manages expenditures consistent with district and school level goals and available resources. We rated proficient. We rated exemplary. I'm sorry. Overall rating for Standard 2, Management and Operations, we rated proficient. In the area of school and management systems, Dr. Sawyer's work with the information technology team for the district has strengthened the district's optimal use of technology and data. Additional use of technology to complete business needs, including automation of tasks, could provide valuable time for central office employees to devote to other important work. Dr. Sawyer does a good job of managing his staff in light of the increased demands on his time. Per last year's DMG report, Shrewsbury spends 17% less per pupil on administration than comparable districts. During the FY27 budget process, Dr. Sawyer has continued to provide outstanding leadership with regard to the management of the district's budget. He has continued to provide clear communication regarding the district's needs, explaining the context of education funding in Massachusetts, and highlighting the cost-effectiveness of our district's financial management. The management of the FY26 budget has continued to be successful with the stability provided through the override agreement and the district's careful use of those local funds, while also using grant and philanthropic funds to address key needs and strategic priorities. Dr. Sawyer has also worked diligently to provide an FY27 budget recommendation that has been more challenging than the previous post-override years due to rising cost pressures related to inflation in transportation and special education out-of-district tuition rates, plus the volatility of how many students require out-of-district services. Dr. Sawyer supported the efforts to create the first opportunity for full-day preschool programming, which has been very successful. He also supported the expansion of full-day preschool from 2 to 4 sections next year. This is in response to family feedback and increased participation in tuition revenue. Dr. Sawyer has spent significant time working with the new Executive Director of Human Resources during her first year in the role to support her transition to applying her HR skills in a public education environment and to the district's approaches to HR issues. Standard 3, family and community engagement. First category, engagement, actively ensures that all families are welcome members of the classroom and school community and can contribute to the effectiveness of the classroom, school, district, and community. Exemplary. Was our rating. The next category, sharing responsibility, continuously collaborates with families and community stakeholders to support student learning and development at home, school, and in the community. We rated exemplary. Communication, engages in effective communication with families, community stakeholders, and the media about key district issues, including student achievement, district needs, and best practices in education. We rated exemplary. Next category, family concerns, addresses family and community concerns in an equitable, effective, and efficient manner. We rated exemplary. The overall rating for family and community engagement was exemplary. Dr. Sawyer's performance in this area continues to be exemplary and one of his core strengths as a leader. He consistently communicates clearly and thoughtfully, maintains a strong presence across the community, and approaches both routine interactions and more challenging situations with professionalism and care. The district's response in connection with the tragic shooting death of a Coolidge parent on the second day of school helped manage an incredibly challenging situation in a manner that supported students, families, and staff with clear communication, strong partnership with law enforcement and public safety, and thoughtful ongoing support. Over Dr. Sawyer's long tenure, his family and community engagement has been a defining aspect of his leadership. He has built trust with family, staff, and the broader community through consistent messaging, visibility, and a steady, respectful approach. The committee appreciates Dr. Sawyer's ability to navigate complex or sensitive issues while keeping the focus on transparency and the district's core values. Next standard, professional culture. Commitment to high standards. Fosters a shared commitment to high standards of service, teaching, and learning with high expectations for achievement for all. We rated exemplary. Cultural proficiency. Ensures that policies and practices enable staff members and students to interact effectively in a culturally diverse environment in which students' backgrounds, identities, strengths, and challenges are respected. We rated proficient. Communication. Demonstrates strong interpersonal, written, and verbal communication skills. We rated exemplary. Continuous learning. Develops and nurtures a culture in which staff members are reflective about their practice and use student data, current research, best practices, and theory to continuously adapt practice and achieve improved results. Models these behaviors in his or her own practice. We rated exemplary. Shared vision. Successfully and continuously engages all stakeholders in the creation of a shared educational vision in which every student is prepared to succeed in post-secondary education and become a responsible citizen and global contributor. We rated proficient. Managing conflict. Employs strategies for responding to disagreement and dissent, constructively resolving conflict, and building consensus throughout a district or school community. We rated proficient. The overall rating for professional culture, we rated exemplary. Dr. Sawyer's performance in fostering a strong professional culture is exemplary and reflects a consistent, intentional leadership approach over time. He leads by example, supporting a school culture that centers on students, sets clear expectations for professionalism, respect, and accountability, and reinforces those expectations through his communication with staff and the broader community. The school committee received favorable feedback regarding Dr. Sawyer's performance and the feedback it requested from staff, families, students, and the community in connection with developing the leadership profile for the new superintendent as part of the superintendent search process. The committee appreciates his focus on building a culture grounded in high standards and continuous improvement, particularly through the use of data to inform decisions and guide district priorities. His efforts to engage directly with staff through advisory groups, leadership meetings, and ongoing communication help ensure that perspectives from across the organization are heard while maintaining alignment with the district's mission and strategic goals. He has also demonstrated strong leadership in navigating complex cultural challenges, including promoting respectful discourse and reinforcing core values during more difficult moments for the community. Overall, his leadership has helped sustain a professional, collaborative culture that supports both staff effectiveness and positive outcomes for students. During the past year, our district has dealt with a significant increase in public records requests, almost entirely from two individuals in the same household. This has required a significant amount of time and resources to be devoted to this, which meant shifting work priorities and work needs. Since March 14, 2025, the district has received approximately 38 separate public records requests from these individuals, many of which have multiple parts and requests. The district has spent significant time, resources, and legal fees to respond to these requests in order to ensure compliance with student record and personnel record laws. This year is the first time in 29 years that a formal complaint has been received with regard to Dr. Sawyer's performance. The complaint is in connection with the timeliness of responses to public records requests. The school committee has conducted an investigation into this complaint. While Dr. Sawyer is not directly responsible for managing public records requests, the school committee has made suggestions to improve the district's ability for its public records process to better address response times. The sheer number, timing, and complexity of the public records request this year was an anomaly and was challenging to handle in light of the many other responsibilities of the public records officer. The committee has asked Dr. Sawyer to consider ways to improve the district's capacity to respond to these requests in a more timely manner and to ensure that any district employees involved in fulfilling these requests are provided with sufficient capacity and training to perform these duties. The summative rating for the superintendent's performance overall is exemplary. Dr. Sawyer's overall performance has been exemplary, and the school committee members agree that our district has been incredibly fortunate to have his leadership over such a long and impactful tenure. Dr. Sawyer has consistently demonstrated what it means to be a professional, data-informed superintendent who not only sets a clear vision, but delivers results in a disciplined and thoughtful way. What stands out most is his ability to balance high-quality educational outcomes with strong financial stewardship. Dr. Sawyer has guided our district through extremely lean budget years, the building of needed new schools to deal with outdated facilities and tremendous growth in student population. And the data tells a clear story. Shrewsbury continues to be one of the most high-performing and cost-efficient districts in the state, delivering a strong return on investment for residents while maintaining operational and financial stability. That combination is not easy to achieve, and it reflects years of intentional leadership and decision-making. Dr. Sawyer has also been an outstanding communicator and a steady, visible presence for families and the community. Whether in times of success or challenge, he has consistently led with transparency, clarity, and professionalism, which has built a high level of trust and respect across stakeholders. He has been a strong advocate for public education and for this district, and that reputation extends beyond the community. He is widely recognized as one of the most respected and accomplished superintendents in the state. Most importantly, our students and staff have been well served under his leadership. Students graduate from Shrewsbury High School with the education they need, including strong soft skills that are required to navigate the next phase of their lives. The strength of our schools has made Shrewsbury a highly desirable place to live, benefiting the entire community, including increased property values and sustained confidence in our public school system. Dr. Sawyer has championed public education in Shrewsbury for almost 3 decades. His impact will be long-lasting, and the district is in a strong position for continued excellence in education for all students because of the foundation Dr. Sawyer has built. With that, I'll take comments from members. Ms. Fritz?
Sure. I want to just talk about the way we evaluate the superintendent. We take it very seriously, and I've done this many times. Recently, there's been public allegations of the committee ignoring information or covering for Dr. Sawyer. Nothing could be closer to the truth. Further from the truth. It's unfortunate individuals have taken this path because we are the ones who work with Dr. Sawyer day in and day out and know the type of work and leadership that he provides to the district. There's been various social media posts. There's even been a sitting select board member who has a show that talked about information. I think it is incredibly disrespectful to us as a school committee and to Dr. Sawyer in his work. I think having an opinion is absolutely appropriate. We are all entitled to it, but our opinion should be based on facts. And I do not see that as what's being published. Under Dr. Sawyer's leadership, the district continues to make considerable progress in strategic goals, priorities, and again, his time and the increase on his time to do his real job as superintendent, plus everything else that comes in. And I personally have seen those needs increase with societal needs and just crisis management and budget challenges. So, I mean, he's always led by example. I've been a school committee member during all of his tenure. This is the first time a formal complaint to the committee was received during my time. I fully recognize and support an individual's legal right to request public records, but the public needs to be fully aware, as Ms. Boucher mentioned, about the significant increase in public records requests the district received from last school year to this school year. And I had Mr. Wensky check my math. We've had a 625% increase in public records requests from last school year to this school year. I firmly support this family's right to put in their public records requests and expect timely responses. But when you look at the number of requests, the amount of the parts within each request, and the fact that some were actually made within days or even the next day after a prior request, we tried to manage them as best as we could as a district. But again, due to workload constraints, competing priorities, the volume and the detailed nature of them, the district did not respond as timely as we should have to all of them, and we readily acknowledge that fact. As of last Thursday, I believe a total of 123.5 hours was spent by central office responding to these requests. And due to the nature of some of these requests, the district did need to have legal counsel assist with that. That is not unheard of, and especially with the nature, you do want legal counsel to be part of that. For me, Dr. Sawyer has always been an exemplary leader throughout his time as a superintendent. Strong educational results don't happen by accident. They're due to a leader who values others' opinions, shares successes in areas that need improvement, and continuously strives to improve student learning. In his years here, he's always championed public education. He's always does what's best for students, and he definitely is leaving this district in a great place so that we can have continued excellence in education for all students. Thank you.
Mr. Wensky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First off, I think Dr. Sawyer's performance this year and in every year that I've been a school committee member has been exemplary. It's defined by that steady, data-driven leadership. It delivers strong student outcomes while maintaining that financial discipline that we need and the operational stability. The district is well positioned for continued success due to the foundation that he's built over the years. And as Chair Boucher said, the data tells the story. I think anybody can look at multitude of reports to show that the success in this district is significant, and our students are better off as a result of his leadership, which is consistent, as I mentioned, data-driven. The student impact, there's been strong progress in the literacy space and targeted interventions with expanding student opportunities. Operations has been very well managed. The culture is always professional, an accountable environment reinforced by clear communication. The transition to our new superintendent, Dr. Ostrander, has been very thoughtful, and I can see that we're going to sustain the momentum as we head into the new school year. In terms of opportunity, I think we've discussed, you mentioned, and Chair Boucher mentioned the public records request complaint that was received. Certainly there's an opportunity there to provide stronger structure and ownership around fulfilling the request, because yes, we did not fulfill the request within the time frame that the state requires. That is a fact. What is also a fact is that in FY23, I think we had 4 requests. All total for the year FY24, we had 4 requests. For the year FY25, we had 17 requests, which is a 325% increase year over year. And then the current school year, I believe I heard it right, it's 29 requests, primarily from the same household, which is a 70% increase year over year. And what you mentioned, Ms. Fritz, 625% increase in the number of public records requests that this district has received. So clearly we need more bandwidth to support the records that people are requesting and that they feel they need. So I think we need to think about the process that we have in place to fulfill the records within the time frame that the state requires. Additional resources, will obviously cost the district. I mean, we'll need to put resources in place to do it. And in the interest of transparency, I think we should also consider, as a committee, obviously not something to do right this second, but I think because of the volume of requests that we're receiving, I think we need to consider posting the public records requests on our website and again, this is transparency, so people can see the nature of the requests that are coming in, who's making the requests, and then the cost to the district. I think that's only fair. You look to Berlin-Boylston School District, you go to their website, you see kind of a template of what that looks like, and then you can click through to each request to see the correspondence. And as you said, it's not like it's just one record, like I need the minutes for this meeting. It's a request that has 15 parts to it, and it takes a while to fulfill these requests. And again, people can request public records, and we need to be prepared to fulfill those requests. But the nature of the public records is that they are public, right? And in the interest of transparency, I think we need to get a little more, we need to get better about making the public aware, because this could become a recurring trend, clearly. So, but, getting back to just because this is Dr. Sawyer's last, public performance appraisal, which is always an awkward thing. Usually these things happen behind closed doors, but because of the nature of this job, it must be public. I think it goes without saying. I mean, he leaves behind a high-performing, financially stable, and highly respected school district. We're a desirable place to live because of the leadership that Dr. Sawyer has provided to public education in Shrewsbury. And I know it's, from my perspective, it's been a pleasure working with Dr. Sawyer. I know he's still got meetings left. Over the last 11 years as a school committee member, I've really appreciated his focus, his forward thinking, and I believe the residents are better served because of his leadership in public education. So thank you very much.
Thank you. As part of this year's evaluation, I want to begin by recognizing the district's continued commitment to thoughtful planning and continuous improvement. During the last school year, the school committee partnered with DMG to conduct a comprehensive review of historical budgets and develop a detailed forecast. This work highlighted many strengths in the district, something that reflects strongly on Dr. Sawyer's leadership over time, but it also did identify important areas of focus. One of those areas was a deeper review of educational programming models, particularly in special education and student support services. I appreciate Dr. Sawyer's initiative in taking the next step to engage with DMG again in a more detailed analysis of this area. We have a strong student services department with excellent leadership, but it's critical that we continue to step back, reassess, and look for opportunities to improve outcomes while managing costs effectively. That openness to reflection and improvement is important, and I look forward to continued discussion and progress on this work. As we also prepare for the upcoming leadership transition, I want to acknowledge Dr. Sawyer's commitment to ensuring a smooth and thoughtful process. Dr. Ostrander has been meaningfully engaged in key meetings with the school committee and district leadership, and Dr. Sawyer has created opportunities for her to build connections through his work as a leader in the Leading Now organization. That level of intentional transition planning is not only appreciated, but is important for the continued stability of our district. Since announcing his retirement in October, Dr. Sawyer has maintained a strong focus on advancing the district's strategic goals. This year, we saw continued implementation of our K-6 literacy program and the expansion into grades 7 and 8. Literacy remains a top priority, especially to me, and I appreciate Dr. Sawyer's responsiveness in working collaboratively to provide requested data that helps us as a committee and as a community better understand and track student progress and the impacts of these efforts. At the same time, this year brought an unusual number of challenges. Early in the school year, our community experienced a deeply difficult and tragic event that had a direct impact on one of our school communities and Shrewsbury as a whole. The way in which districts respond, with care, professionalism, and a clear focus on students and families, was a reflection of the strength of the system. Throughout the year, additional challenges required the district to continually adapt, reprioritize, and respond. Dr. Sawyer's steady leadership and experience were evident in how he navigated these moments. This year also included a first for the district, a formal complaint against the superintendent related to compliance with Massachusetts public records law. As a school committee, we take all complaints seriously and have a responsibility to review them thoroughly. It is important, however, to provide context as part of his evaluation. Over the past year, the district experienced an unprecedented volume of public records requests, far beyond what is typical. These requests varied significantly in size and scope and required extensive time and effort, totaling thousands of pages and hundreds of hours of work. In the midst of trying to fulfill these requests, many revisions were made as to what was actually being asked for, which complicated the process. This created a substantial strain on our existing systems and staff capacity. At the same time, I want to make it abundantly clear that the public's right to access information is fundamental, and we remain fully committed to meeting our obligations under the law. There was nothing nefarious happening trying to withhold information. The delay was a strain on our system. This experience has underscored the need to strengthen our process. The committee met with Dr. Sawyer to discuss the facts, how to change our existing process to better accommodate a higher volume of requests, and steps have already been taken to improve how requests are managed so that we can continue to respond in a timely and thorough manner while also maintaining focus on our core work. Having worked closely with Dr. Sawyer over the past 3 years, I have seen firsthand his commitment to this district and the community. He engages thoughtfully with students, families, staff, and residents, and he has remained dedicated to advancing our strategic goals while balancing fiscal responsibility, even in his final year. His leadership is exemplary, thoughtful, transparent, and steady, and has played a significant role in maintaining the strength and reputation of Shrewsbury Public Schools. Dr. Sawyer, you have left a lasting legacy.
Thank you. Mr. Pellegapudi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. During the 2025-26 evaluation period, Dr. Sawyer demonstrated steady and effective leadership across all major areas of responsibility, earning an overall rating of exemplary, as Madam Chair read out just before. Dr. Sawyer advanced key district priorities while maintaining stability, focus, and continuity during a period of transition. Progress towards establishing goals were clear and measurable. The external student services review conducted in partnership with DMG is well positioned to inform future improvements in effectiveness, efficiency, and alignment with district strategic commitments. At the same time, Dr. Sawyer took deliberate, thoughtful steps to support a smooth leadership transition, consistently engaging with the incoming leadership to ensure continuity and organizational stability. The district continued to make meaningful progress on strategic priorities, including implementing K-8 literacy, expanding career technical education opportunities and career awareness opportunities, developing PBIS data systems, and advancing the Shrewsbury High School expansion project through the MSBA process. These efforts reflect strong alignment between strategic planning and execution. Across all 4 professional standards, performance was consistently proficient, reflecting reliable and effective leadership in a complex environment. Operations, financial stewardship, and responses to challenges were handled in a coordinated, responsible manner with steady communication and engagement across the community. This evaluation also marks the accumulation of a long and impactful tenure. For many years, Dr. Sawyer has been a steady, trusted leader, guiding the district with consistency, sound judgment, and deep commitment to students and the community through periods of growth and challenge. His leadership has helped build a strong, enduring foundation for Shrewsbury Public Schools. The school committee expresses its sincere appreciation for his years of dedicated service and lasting contributions. I congratulate Dr. Sawyer on his accomplishments and extend our best wishes for continued success. I know it's too early, but and fulfillment in his next chapter. I know we have opportunities, but I just want to put it together as a part of this. Thank you and congratulations.
Over the course of 17 years, Dr. Sawyer has provided steady, principled leadership grounded in action, grounded in a clear vision for all students' success. His tenure reflects not just longevity, but sustained excellence and stability, evident in student outcomes, thoughtful stewardship of district resources, and consistent commitment to opportunity for all students. Dr. Sawyer has fostered a culture of collaboration among educators, families, and the broader community, while maintaining a disciplined focus on continued improvement. I'm appreciative of Dr. Sawyer's years of leadership as a school committee member and as a parent. As chair this year, I've had a front row seat to the demands of the superintendency, and Shrewsbury has been incredibly fortunate to have such an exemplary leader. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Boucher, for the evaluation, the composite evaluation, and thank you to all the members for your comments. I appreciate it greatly. I've very much appreciated working with Ms. Boucher as chair this year. The continued support from Ms. Sharifapour and Mr. Wensky and Ms. Fritz, and getting to know Mr. Velagaputa this year and working with him. And much like all the kudos that Ms. Fritz received earlier, deservedly so, this community is very fortunate to have an elected board of leaders who are so deeply committed to public education, and I thank you for that. And to supporting me and the leadership team, and most importantly, our staff and our students and our families. In terms of accomplishments, I really can't take credit for all this incredible work that our staff has done to advance things. And I've always been incredibly proud of the quality and the commitment of our staff. I'm particularly indebted to our leadership team, of course, who I work with most closely on a day-to-day basis, and their willingness and skill to execute our priorities and to do what's in the best interests of students and staff and families. The overall staff work that they've done, our excellent relationship with our employee groups, our Shrewsbury Education Association and Para-Educator Association, certainly the work that we're able to do in conjunction with our municipal partners and with the town manager and his office and all the various department heads who support the work of the schools. This is a community where it really does function as a team, and I really appreciate that, and that's one of the reasons we have such an excellent local government overall is the collaboration and respect everyone has for one another. I mentioned at the start of the meeting, of course, we were able to honor my executive assistant, Beth McCollum, who is the linchpin of the work that happens every day for the superintendent's office, and I am incredibly grateful for her work and efforts over the years with such skill and respect and setting the tone for everything that we do in our office. I want to thank our parent community. We have a wonderful parent community that is so supportive of the work that we do. And has high expectations, but I continuously hear gratitude as I'm around town at different events or in schools. And fortunately, having the benefit of being in the community for such a long time, I have the benefit of running into parents of students who graduated many years ago who are now thriving in their adult lives, or maybe recent high school graduates who are doing well in their next steps in the workforce or the armed forces or in college. And those conversations are really incredibly gratifying to me, just to see the impact that our schools have had on students and hear those stories firsthand. The residents of the community, for all of their financial support of our school district. I think our schools make our community a better place. It improves the quality of life here. And the fact that our residents have supported us financially through building projects and recent overrides is something that I will always be incredibly grateful for. Last but not least, of course, my family, my wife, my daughters, who have always supported my work and inspire me every day. But again, this is really not about me. It's a shared responsibility, and I benefit from the fact that we have such a professional, thoughtful, committed, hardworking, and skillful staff, and supported by wonderful families, and then a school committee who's supportive of this work and leads, and then ultimately, finally, the almost 6,000 students that we have. We have extraordinary young people. It gives me such great pride when I see them working and excited about learning in their classrooms, when they're performing, when you get to visit them during, whether that's a robotics competition or the musical and athletic contest. There are so many different ways that our students excel, thanks to their own talent and hard work, but the guidance and the quality of the instruction and coaching they get from all of our educators across the board. So it's been my absolute pleasure and honor to serve as superintendent. This process is not something I'm going to necessarily miss a ton when I move into retirement. And Dr. Ostrander will benefit from this next year. But I certainly am going to miss the people most, and the students, the staff, the families. And again, I am humbled and grateful, and appreciate all the feedback this evening, and I thank you.
May I have a motion that the committee vote to approve the composite superintendent's evaluation document as presented?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. The next item on our agenda this evening is approval of minutes. The minutes from the school committee workshops held on April 9th and April 14th of 2026, and the school committee meeting held on April 15th of 2026 were enclosed. Did anyone have any changes or corrections?
No.
Will be accepted as distributed. And then we do need to go into executive session this evening. Ms. Fritz, one more last time.
Read through that.
I'm going to need a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of addressing General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of or any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements. Purpose 7, Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 22F and G, for the purpose of reviewing, approving, and/or releasing executive session minutes. B, for the purpose of addressing General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect of the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Purpose 3. C, for the purpose of addressing General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A5, to investigate charges of criminal misconduct or to consider the filing of criminal complaints. Purpose 5. D, for the purpose of addressing General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, non-union clerical and support staff and/or administrators. Purpose 2. E, for the purpose of addressing General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements, federal and Massachusetts student record laws. Purpose 7. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call vote. Ms. Fritz?
Aye.
Mr. Wensky?
Aye.
Ms. Sharifapour?
Aye.
Mr. Velagapudi?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Thank you and good night.